was a dude doing some such stuff to a woman. There's more times that there's citizens around than police. So the citizens, we have to police and check these men ourselves when they're doing stuff like this.
But I feel like the
You can't just put it on the police.
But I feel like the punishment on men when it comes to domestic violence or when it comes to sexual accuses is like the charges are not strong enough to the point where it could, it teach them a lesson. Do you want to look up this stat? Like, what is the current stat of a sex offender? Like, there's so many like registered sex offender that just walk and roam.
Yeah, because you only
without anything.
Because
Nicki Minaj is married to a sex offender.
Yeah, but when you're a sex offender, you only get, depending on what you do, some dudes don't even go to prison. They just get probation and have to register.
Exactly. So like you're almost kind of like just kind of giving them like a little kick, a little nub, and you're like, all right, man, like you did the crime, whatever. Just
the sentencing for child like sexual abuse against minor laws and all that stuff should be more longer. But you know why it's not longer?
Why? Because
the people who make the laws be doing the shit too.
I know, and it's just crazy because
that's why a lot of these laws are the way they are, because the people that make them are breaking these laws more than the citizens are. That's what people don't understand. That's really what they don't understand. You don't think it's a lot of pedophiles and sexual?
Oh, I'm sure
people who probably should be sex offenders that are in politics that are running our country right now.
Shoot, man, probably even worse because they got the money and they got the funds to hide things. Exactly. So and damn, I was watching a doc on Netflix, and it was about finding a missing girl, and the family had hired like a special detective, and then the special detective had to like go to the deeper realm of the internet to find pedophilia and all that. And he's like, I've never seen anything worse in my entire life until I started this journey to find this missing girl and having
was on the dark web, probably seeing stuff he ain't never seen before.
Man, we live such a busy life, so like we don't. I mean, obviously, I don't go through my day thinking about these types of shit, but the fact that like there's so many stuff like this happening, people getting their body chopped, body missing on the rivers, homicide, and like I'm like, yo, like what world are we living in? Like it's
not new though.
It's not new.
You can't even say that. It's not new. This has been happening since before we was born, before our parents was born. Yeah, it was way worse back in like probably the 1800s, 1700s when like forensics and all that stuff wasn't really as advanced as it is now.
Right.
People was just killing and probably doing all this stuff and not even getting a knock on their door asking if they did it.
But now with the internet, I think it adds a different element. It adds an element that wasn't there before. Now people are doing a lot of things on the internet or through the internet that could be worse.
Because now you can, in a sense,
you want to argue that point.
You can, in a sense, sexually abuse a child and be 3,000 miles away from them.
Right.
All you got to do is just get explicit pictures of them.
Or now you can find people's address without actually knowing the person.
Or that.
You can stalk people more. You can, hack into their life. You can access their phone. You can access their emails. I mean, this is crazy. I don't know if you ever received this, but I think my mom was on Facebook, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she received an email from like a random person threatening her, right? And it was weird because it was an email. It's just like who emails another person? That's just we don't really do that anymore. But in the email, it was like, yo, like I know where you live, and like if you don't like.
That probably was a scam though.
It was two of them. It was threat for money. It was like
it was just a scam.
It was like I have like explicit message
that's a scam.
Pictures and videos, and they sent two that looked like it was a MP4 or MPG file.
The JPEG or whatever.
Yeah,
that's a scam.
And it's like I need money and all that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna block this
That's
for my
that's
mom.
just a scam.
But
That's all that is.
but the thing is, there's just so many of that, and some are pretty good at scamming and like actually get people. Cause I know in my freaking company, they do these things where they like have a company where they'll send us stuff on purpose just to see if we click on it. Bro, I fail every time. I would click on the link, and when I clicked on the link, it says you failed the. I'm like, no! It just look, bro. One was a receipt to my Adobe account. It was an update receipt to my Adobe account, and I was like, huh? Like, is something wrong with my Adobe account? So I clicked on it, and I was like, and then after that, I was like, wait, like, that wasn't even my number. But it was just like, it just got me in a way where it's like,
Yeah,
I
that's
have
why
Adobe.
Yeah, that's how they get you. They just go. They like use your data, figure out what things you have, and just try to think of a random way to try to get you to fall for the scam.
Man, and it's just like, and also we get phone calls every day. Thankfully, Apple will, say scam likely or whatever case might be. But there's a few where I'm like, no, it doesn't say it. I don't trust it.
Yeah, but I mean, because of the internet, it makes it so much easier to do anything, whether it's scamming or going back to the child predators. It makes them easy. It makes their job even easier too.
Right.
Because all they have to do is just make an account and talk to some kid on social media and befriend them, and now they can get them to come to their house or whatever.
Speaking of pedophile and Apple is there's gonna be a new iOS, and the update was supposedly is gonna allow them to access people's pictures and stuff like that to find any pedophilia postings, anything regarding to that, to track down pedophilia and stop like sex trafficking of minors in a way. And so this news kind of came as a good news because, we do have a major issue when it comes to that. So there's two sides. There's obviously people who endorse this, but then there's also people that are saying like, yo, if you're going to have the ability to access my pictures, access my phone, access my information, then like you're going to have the ability to, track me and like,
But they're already tracking you.
Right. So, I mean, they know our location everywhere we go.
Yeah.
Even they know our messages.
The thing is, even if
it's linked to the cloud.
Yeah, but the thing is, even if you're not sharing your location, your phone is still linked to the cloud. So they know where you're at regardless. They know where the phone is at. If they really need to track that phone, that specific phone, they can track it. Your location don't got to be on. The Apple will turn it on themselves and track it.
Exactly. So I think the argument to this thing is like, it's like, all right, man, like, why weren't they doing this to begin with? Like, why weren't they tracking for pedophilia and sex traffickers to begin with? Because apparently it's not new. You've been tracking us since the 2000s. Since after 9/11, they started with the operation. I forgot the name. What it was the case, but the CIA and FBI started, pretty much surveillance on the entire populations, and then big tech got involved, and then. Big tech started doing the same damn thing. That's why you see a lot of people like taping their little cameras here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always like, man, whatever. If y'all see me having sex, then it is what it is.
You're going to get a show, I guess.
A free show for you.
Yeah.
Grab some popcorn because it's going to end in like 2 seconds.
I think maybe because like sex trafficking and like pedophilia has been, I guess, getting more. I mean, it's always been a thing, but it's more mainstream. It's more talked about. It's more mainstream now.
But I can honestly say sex trafficking has been happening, and I think the rate might just be either the same.
I think it's a little higher right now.
Or higher.
It's a little higher.
Maybe with the internet it's higher.
Yeah, because of that stuff like that. So, I mean, these are just ways of people trying to, the FBI.
But how do you see this coming? So, like, let's say they go through a person's phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this was the argument here. So, from the people who are kind of opposing this, right? It's like, let's say you go through my phone, right? And turns out those are my fucking kids. Those are, just like my kids' friends, or they're just playing. It just happened to be a photo on my phone. Like, how? So how could an AI system detect whether this is a pedophilia case or this is just?
Are the kids naked?
I mean,
It's easy if the kids are naked.
what if they're too young and they just run around? But
Fam,
I don't
you
know.
shouldn't just have your kids run around
That's
ass
true.
naked. Come on now. I'm not saying that makes you a pedophile or whatever, but
Right, you shouldn't have naked.
and if that's the case, you shouldn't even have those pictures on your phone because
Wait,
all
hold
it's
up, hold up.
what happened?
Oh, go ahead. I fault. I accidentally pressed the button.
No, you're good. If that's the case, you shouldn't even have those pictures on your phone because if you worried about that, you should be worried about someone who's an actual pedophile hacking into your iCloud and getting those pictures of the little kids.
That's true.
You shouldn't just be worried about Apple trying to figure out
Right.
if it's pedophilia. You should be worried about the actual pedophiles because they'll try to, if they can suspect that you have that type of picture on your phone, they'll find a way to get into your iCloud.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Because what the thing is, there's such a pushback right now on like all these tech companies, but also like I've gotten to a point where I'm like, yo, I can't really live without the tech. So it's like, I guess I have to just cave in to whatever they come out with next or whatever the case might be. Because we're not gonna drop our iPhones. Like,
people, as citizens, we so entitled, bro. When I tell you the government really don't give a fuck about us the way that we think they do, I promise you they don't. They really don't.
yeah, they only care
They
if you're laundering money and
No,
if you
they-
don't pay your
they don't-
taxes.
They don't care.
I think the IRS cares about citizens more than the government.
But even then, they don't, bro. They don't care. Like, people be so worried. Nobody is watching you. You are nobody. You got 1,000 followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
You are only known in your city. These
Well-
people don't care about you. You just because you think you popular. Nobody is trying to track you.
Yeah.
No one in the government is trying to track you unless you're doing something illegal. Then that's on you. Why would you be doing illegal stuff on your phone?
All right. I mean,
Come on now.
we can say that they're tracking us right now, and if your life has been perfectly normal and everything seems fine, and the government hadn't really interfere with your life, then obviously they don't really give a damn. So, I'm with you.
People making it seem like when we hear stuff like this that means that they're gonna be checking your phone every single day. Bro, they're not gonna be doing that. It's probably gonna be like random, like just random.
In and out here and there.
Yeah, it's not gonna be
Right.
every single day, every hour, every 5 minutes,
Or-
whatever the fuck you.
Or
think
your
it's gonna
name
be.
happened to be like on a case
Yeah,
that like came across the FBI or CIA, like
yeah. I don't think they're just
or
gonna
a
go.
detective.
Exactly. I don't think they're just gonna go around looking through everybody's photos. You would have to be someone who might be a suspected
Right.
pedophile or.
Right. So I guess I would relinquish a little bit of privacy. I mean, if
It's
I
still
even have
private.
privacy, but for the good of like what Apple is trying to do. If they're really trying to use this new iOS as a way to crack down on these things, then all right, man, like go ahead.
Yeah, but I mean,
Because like we can't let it get out of hand to a point where we can't control it.
yeah, but I mean, whether you consider it privacy or not, but them be able to have access to our data and photos, all that, it's still privacy. Just because they're having access doesn't mean that they're gonna take your photos and post them places. They're not taking your photos and saving them. It's some robot system that's scanning photos and make
Right.
sure that they go through and that it's not child pornography or anything like that.
But my thing is like it's bad to say this, but like a professional pedo would probably know to be only using platforms like 4chan or whatever, like forums that are like anonymous.
Like Reddit and 4chan and all that.
Yeah,
shit.
like obviously you're not gonna go through this because like these
Yeah, but-
platforms aren't anonymous.
but
So
even then-
how do you tackle that? I
Okay,
guess
but-
that's not really for Apple to say. That's
Okay,
the
but
government.
But even with those anonymous forums, those pictures have to get on there somehow. They have to be on somebody's phone or in somebody's computer. They're not just gonna pop up there. So at the end of the day, it has to come from a source. So yes, they can now that's what this is for. They can go on those forums now, look at these child
Track it
pornography
back
pics,
somehow.
track it back, and figure out who it's coming from.
Right.
That's what they're really trying to do. They're not worried about you. Unless you sneak in doing some child pornography and they come
Yeah.
across it, then that's your stupid fault.
Yeah.
Why you have that in your phone and doing that you're sick?
Right.
So they're not worried about us. They're worried about stuff like that. Going to the forums, looking for the actual suspected
Yeah.
pedophiles and sex traffickers. They don't care about you if you're not involved in none of that. They're not looking at you.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how a lot of people nowadays thinks like, their information is gold and
Family,
like
I told you, we're entitled as citizens. We think that
yeah,
we think that the world revolves around us,
right.
and it doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of that too. I'm saying that. I'm a hypocrite. I think that all the time too. Maybe not when it comes to this, but we think that all the time, man. We think that the world revolves around us. And there's
Same.
8 billion other people in this world. We are just another speck in this world, just like them, no matter if they're famous, whatever it is.
Yeah.
People just have to stop being so entitled and thinking that that they're just, that person, and that people care about your privacy or your data, because they really don't. And with data, I don't. I mean, they want your data so they can sell you stuff. You don't have to buy it.
Right.
But they don't. They're not trying to stalk you or track you or whatever people really think. Yeah, I mean, eventually they could use that technology for that. But
My thing is,
they're not
I
gonna
just
do
don't
that.
want to get hacked. That's the thing.